Welcome
You can
back,
be recording
listener.
for
How
that
are
now.
you?
Okay.
I'm glad you had a good
I'm playing
week.
with the doggy.
And welcome back to another
Hi,
exciting
doggy.
episode of Aaron's Opinion, the podcast for blind people, where we talk about critical
Yeah,
issues
that's
in
Daddy.
the
It's okay.
blindness community. Today, we are joined by a fellow YouTuber, someone to whom I have really just discovered, really only a day ago. I don't really remember exactly where I found you, but in the YouTube community, you may or may not be familiar with Chime Bear. Chime Bear, otherwise known as Wayne Scott. By the way, that's a wonderful name. I love that name, Wayne. That's such a cool name. Wayne, welcome to Aaron's
Thank you.
Opinion. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going pretty well. Can't complain anyway.
Well, I have a lot of complaints, so I'm glad that you cannot complain anyway. Tell
Who
us.
would listen? Who would listen to a complaint? Not me.
Well, there you go then. Well, I have a, well then let's start with the question. Tell us about let's start with the history of your blindness. So for one thing, were you born blind?
Yes, I was actually born 6 weeks early, and
Premature.
they gave me too much oxygen,
Mm.
and it also, what happened was the doctors told the nurses to give me 10% oxygen. Well, they turned it down to the number 10, not realizing it was 10 to the 10th power.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what caused my blindness and partial deafness.
I see. I see. That's very interesting. Yeah, yeah. So, I was born in '91, by the way. When were you born? Were you?
74.
So yeah, yeah. A lot of babies born in the 50s, 60s, and 70s were born prematurely and then put into
Incubators.
those, yes, incubators. Thank you. And then were blinded from lack of knowledge of the medical knowledge of that time. Yeah,
Hmm.
it was quite a. I think it was probably quite a severe problem until they started to realize. I guess in the 90s they probably stopped doing that, but it went on for quite a
Actually,
while. Yeah.
actually, it stopped in the 1960s. In the
Oh.
70s, it was pretty much under control. So mine was pretty much caused by accident, is what it more or less.
Ah, I see. I see. All right. All right. Well, then suffice it to say, you're
Yep.
basically someone who was born blind when you think about it. You've
Hmm.
been blind your entire life then. Yeah.
That's right. That's
And
right.
and it's really interesting to have the conversation about it because a lot of my guests were people who were, sighted for most of their lives and then became blind later, which
Hmm.
is like really, really, really hard for people, I think. All right. Well, so then tell us about some early memories, growing up, going to school, those types of things, if you want.
Well, I have one biological. I'm the only. Excuse me. I'm the only sighted one in my family, and
I'm blind.
thank you. I'm the only blind one in my family. And
Now, isn't it now we just need to stop and pause here on Aaron's opinion. Isn't it great, everybody, that Chime Bear has a wife sitting next to him paying attention to what he says? Isn't that useful? I mean, wow, that's so wonderful.
anyway, anyway, I was the only blind one in my family. Well, I am the only blind one in my family still. And I went to public school. I was mainstreamed, and it was difficult growing up as a blind person because my parents were literally flying by the seat of their pants. They had no idea what they were doing. They didn't have the knowledge that is out there now about blindness and stuff like that. They actually went off of a book called "If You Could See What I Could Hear" by Tom Sullivan, and which I've read the book a couple of times, and I'm going, okay, and you can't really base it off of one book, but
So
that's what they did.
let's open that slightly. I've not really heard of that book, but it sounds like it's worth some interesting discussion. If you could
Yeah.
summarize it, what can you tell us about that book? It sounds like one
Well,
of
it's
those
been a
books that
long
was
time
written.
since I've read it, but it is available on Bard.
Huh.
And basically, it's about Tom Sullivan. He wrote he was a singer, and I believe he's also a motivational speaker. He wrote a book called Alive Day about a veteran and a guide dog. But anyway, if you could see what I could hear, it's pretty much about his life. And up until he wrote the song that was popular on the charts, which I have yet to hear, If You Could See What I Could Hear. And he was born blind like I was in the 1950s. And the shows back then, they had even lesser knowledge than they did when I was born. So, but it is available on Bard, I believe. It's called If You Could See What I Could Hear by Tom Sawyer.
All right, good. Well, I mean, and what are some of the things that are in this book that you found to be so inaccurate or so questionable? That's the impression you're giving.
Just the fact that, well, like I said, it's been about, how long ago did I read the book? I would say about 20 years ago since I've read the book, so it's been a while. I think it's like one of the things they did was his parents wouldn't let him play with sighted kids. And I can see both sides of it because I have 4 kids of my own from my first marriage. 2 are blind and 2 are sighted.
Oh.
And the problem is with sighted kids, they don't know how to interact with a blind person. And thanks to the ADA now, we have more avenues open to us so we can educate the public. Before the ADA, it was very tough going because they didn't have a lot of the equipment. It's like people were very impressed that let me use this analogy. They were impressed that a blind person could walk and chew gum at the same time.
Well, I can do that.
Yeah, so can I. And to me, that just turns me off because it's like, I'm just a normal guy.
That's what happens. You can't see.
Thank you.
Right, exactly. Yes, right. Exactly right. You're just a normal. You're just a normal guy who happens to be blind.
Yep,
actually,
that's right.
Actually, I'm quite a character. I have a very eccentric personality. So I would say that I'm a normal, eccentric, unusual person who's both a teacher and a podcaster who happens to be blind on top of all of the eccentrically normal things about me. But yes, that's true. We're just normal people who happen to be blind. And I probably could chew gum and walk and chew gum at the same time. Probably could. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could. Although now I've heard some people say, well, can you rub your head and pat your stomach at the same time? I've actually tried that. No. I've tried that. I can't.
I see.
And my philosophy is life is too funny to be taken seriously. Even though my parents were
That's good.
Even though, even though my parents were overprotective of me, and I didn't realize this until after I moved out. My dad, he and I we have a very good relationship today. He realized his mistakes as far as being overprotective, and now, especially when it came to, I didn't learn a lot of things until later in life.
Right. I see. Yeah, that is interesting. I find that although I'm significantly younger than you, obviously, my memories of growing up are completely different from yours. But really, I think that and this has been said on many other podcasts, so I'll say it on this one, and I'll say it because it's my own opinion. I think that the ADA needs a bit of a facelift, because quite frankly, I think that the ADA has done a great job in providing access to public buildings and setting up ramps for wheelchairs, and all of those things are wonderful. But what it has never done, and I suppose this would also be an equally good argument for never really revising the ADA, is that the ADA has never been able to change the fact that sighted people, will always have preconceived notions and opinions. No law has ever been able to do that. So it's like, I completely, Wayne, I completely support you, as I would completely support any other blind person from around the world who says, look, our country's laws need to change to support blind people, I would say, you're right. I support you. I support that. But
Hmm.
I also think my own opinion about it is that laws don't prevent people from having opinions. So why are we
Hmm.
stressing
Right.
our opinions into laws? You
Right.
know?
And
Yeah.
here's another
Yeah.
thing. Society, and this even happened when I was growing up, a lot of people still think that blindness is contagious.
Yeah, a lot of people think that. The other, have you had a chance to play through my episodes?
Not yet. No, I just subscribed to your channel not
Nope.
more than 20 minutes ago.
No, well, maybe precisely 20 minutes after the ending of this recording. Maybe after we record, after we end this thing, and you
Yeah.
wait 20. Apparently, you have to wait 20 minutes. So after you wait 20 minutes, maybe go through my list. And oh, now I'll end up drawing a blank.
Yeah, it's like one thing too. I still have people flip out. My wife calls it. Yep.
There's it just occurred to me. There's an episode that I recorded called Warrior. It's called Warrior, and the person's name in the episode is Warrior, featuring Sushil Adhikari. And that would be a really good episode for you to listen to. It's all about what it's like to be blind and to have grown up in Nepal. It's really interesting. It goes back to your point that a lot of people in society still believe that blindness is contagious and actually a disease, which it's not. But
I
a
know.
lot of people,
think
many,
that.
many people think that.
And I've had I worked in customer service for 20 years. I'm pretty much retired now because it's hard for a deaf blind person to get a job. But one time I went into Walmart and I asked for customer service, and they said, "Where's your caregiver?" I did my best. I was about ready to slap him. I'm like, I don't need a caregiver. I can do this on my own. I just need help shopping. But inside, I'm cringing. It's like people think that blind people are incapable.
There was some. I mean, that's just that type of thing. Not okay. And somehow I'm not surprised. There was some sort of now I forget what it was exactly, but there was some sort of a pharmaceutical product, some sort of like a scanner where like a blind person can like hold up a bottle of medication and the device like reads the label.
You're probably talking about Script Talk.
Something like that. And there was some sort of a complaint where someone tried it with some prescription that they had or something, and the device told them to go talk to your caregiver. They used that word, or there was some complaint.
Oh my!
Now I don't know exactly what now we need to clarify that I don't know exactly what the product was called. It was a long time ago that there was a complaint that went through the system that apparently the device was set up so that it says go talk to your see your caregiver for further direction or further use on the pharmaceutical product or something. So yeah, the term caregiver is, in my opinion, not appropriate.
No.
But it's used a lot. It's a common term to lean on.
Yep. Do you remember audible traffic signals?
Probably not. Because I grew up. Yes, go ahead.
Well, they didn't have them until the late 80s, early 90s. I lived in a part of Northern California that didn't have them, and then I moved to the Bay Area, and where they have them in abundance. And at the time, they would tweet one direction and cuckoo the other. I like those, but they had to quit making them because the minor bird down south would start imitating them. Now they have the ones, and I don't like the ones that they have now. They vibrate in one way, where they vibrate and beep one way, and then the other way, and you can't really tell them apart. And with my hearing, I can't generalize traffic. I don't know if it's on top of me or behind me. But yeah, they've been around for quite a while.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm the type of person. Well, for one thing, for personal reasons, it's a bit of a long story. My location is always undisclosed, but whatever my location is, it's a location without public transportation. So
Oh
I
boy,
never
yeah,
I never really